Welcome to Squared Circle Spotlight, the heavyweight champion of wrestling podcasts.
Buonasera. I am legendary Italian luchador, La Flama Blanca. And I am here this week in a hosting spot for your friend Joe, who is away on a missionary trip in Guatemala. So thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate having me on this show. Do you mind if I speak in an American accent for the rest of the show?
Whatever comforts you, our dear friend.
Grazie mille, grazie mille. Please, and treat me just as your friend Joe. Don't treat me any differently as La Flama Blanca. I am here as your friend Joe, so treat me exactly as you would your friend Joe. Thank you. Welcome to the show, episode 7. I am La Flama Blanca. I am here co-hosting today. As you can see, we also have a new guest on our show, another host. I would like to first welcome to the show our good friend, longtime friend, and fellow wrestling fan, Kathy. So, welcome to the show. Let you give a little introduction here. Your kind of history with wrestling. What's one of your favorite matches? Whatever you want to tell us about yourself and your wrestling journey.
I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. Been part of our, weekly or bi-weekly wrestling debates we've had for the last decades. It's just now we're finally doing it on film. So It's a nice change. We've talked in this platform for literally probably 20 years. So it's for the rest of the world now. I'm here as Charlie's ally in the punk category. So there we go. That's but other than that, I'm here to talk about a lot of the old stuff and touch base on some of the new stuff, but I'm more so in the older stuff. So we'll see.
Awesome. So welcome along on this wrestling journey with us. And fun fact, you were also there for a very famous story that we mentioned, but haven't told the whole story yet. The infamous Sandman, Made of Sand story. I think you were there for that, so we will bring it up at some point. I'm glad to have another witness to that.
Oh God!
Yeah.
There was always stories at my house.
When you tell them that story, unless you have two people to back it up, they will not believe that story.
I wish it was
utterly ridiculous.
And Jeremy can't make any excuses if there's 3 of us telling the same story. So
I hate you all.
So yeah, thank you. Welcome to the show. We got some topics for you again tonight. Got another fun gimmick. Continuing again, we've kind of had a trend here of really obscure half man, half animal gimmicks, and that's going to continue tonight. We're starting another bracket. We finished the bracket last week of the funniest botch of all time, so we're going to do another bracket tonight. We had some fun for that, so we'll do another one. Completely new topic. We got another merch table. I'm sure Charlie's got about 1,000 figures he's going to pop out there in the episode anyway. So the man of 1,000 figures will have some more for us tonight. And we'll take a deep dive with Evolution coming up this week. We're going to talk some women's wrestling. So we will talk about who could be the greatest of all time in women's wrestling. But first, we'll do as we always do. We'll start it off with our little weekly warm-up question here. And this week, we are going to attempt to build the worst possible superstar using real superstars' traits. So, for example, I could kind of kick it off with one, and we'll kind of go around and continue to build on this and see what we come up with here. So I'll give it a go first. I will say I'm going to go with, this is one of the worst wrestling builds I've ever seen. No disrespect to him. He's just a small guy, very, very small guy for a wrestler. So I'm going to go for the worst build. I'm going Marco Stunt. I'm adding that in there to give us a good start. So I'll kick it over. Let's see. I'm going to give it to Charlie to go next.
Marco Stunt makes Spike Dudley look like Big Show.
Yeah.
He might be one of your
FAWFT.
All right, so kind of threw me for a loop on that one. Joe, what did you say? I'm sorry.
I said for this wrestler's build, I'm going with Marco Stunt. So add whatever trait you want on top of that.
I'm gonna go the exact opposite, and I'm gonna say Bastion Booger. The guy is just a slovenly pig. He's got no muscle under there. It's not a big guy. You see a lot of wrestlers, old timers, like when they get like 50, and they'll still be back in the territory days. They'll still be working, and you can tell they're big, thick guys. Now this guy was just all fat. It's just gross.
Thoroughly disgusting.
So my worst build's Bastion Booger.
All right, I'll kick it over to Jeremy. Who you got for a build for your wrestler?
A build. I mean, the one I would have gone with, because I remember it more than anything, would be Spike Dudley, but Charlie already poo-pooed on that one. But that's like, I remember watching wrestling and seeing him, and just like that is not a build of a wrestler. Like, got thrown around like a rag doll all the time though, and sold well. But yeah, that was the worst build I thought as far as what I watched growing up.
Wait, so who did you say? I didn't hear a name.
Spike Dudley.
Oh, Spike Dudley. Okay. Sorry.
He probably did have the worst build on the roster during that time, Jeremy. So
it's true.
Thank you. I needed that, Charlie.
I know you did, buddy. I know you did.
Kathy,
I'll hand it over to you. For, give your wrestler a build.
Oh, I don't know. You guys took all the good ones.
I like you using the term "good."
When you're making the worst, you got to find the word that matches the other side of it. But I guess I don't know. I'll just stick with you guys. I think you guys took the good ones, so I think the combination of the two could be interesting.
It's hard to top Marco Stunt and Bastion Booger. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
We didn't kind of leave you anywhere to go.
Yeah, seriously.
Not so much.
All right, so let's build one superstar. Whose build do we want to go with there? Out of those we gave up.
I'll go Stunt just because we have seen big fat guys, but we've never seen. Marco Stunt makes me mad when I look at him. I don't know why, but he does.
I think it's jealousy. It's a little bit of jealousy on my end. That guy became a pro wrestler and I didn't.
that he became a pro wrestler and he looks like an 11-year-old prepubescent boy or girl. I don't know.
I look about the same that time.
We'll go to another category here. I will say I'm going to give this character the promo skills of the Great Khali. Absolutely awful on the mic. I don't even know if he did his own promos. I mean, he said some stuff, but didn't he have a manager? But even when he did talk, it was pretty awful. So I'm going Great Khali.
Yeah. He had a manager for a little while. He said a couple words at the end when he was the big love machine. It was terrible. I'm gonna it's kind of in your vein as well. Giant Gonzalez. I mean, I know they stuck him with Harvey Whippleman in WWF at the time, but when he was El Gigante or whatever in WCW, I think they tried letting him talk. Yeah. Oh, sorry, my friend. I didn't mean to. It's not my native tongue, but it wasn't his either because he couldn't string a sentence together to save his life. He was god awful. Get him out of here.
Do we have any other promo skills we want to throw in the mix here?
I remember back in the day when Rusev started in the WWE, it was really painful to listen to him talk when he was Russian and the enforcer basically for it. That was pretty rough for me.
That's gonna get a lot of hate in the comments.
Yeah. I don't know. He had Lana cutting promos for him too, so there is that. But all right, so anybody else we want to add in before we pick one here? We'll go two more categories on this.
I don't know. I think my least favorite of all time was Ronda Rousey. Everything she did was just painful to listen to, and
it's forced too much.
Too much. I
agree.
She should have just stayed where she didn't have to talk, and that would have been it. She needed somebody. Yeah. She needed somebody to help her.
She needed her own Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that one. That's a good one because we said like Great Khali and Rusev. Rusev spoke English, but he was supposed to be Russian. And Giant Gonzalez was from Mexico, so he didn't really speak English. So they get a pass. Ronda Rousey was straight up bad and cringy. So Ronda Rousey's promo skills.
She had one.
She carried that persona from the UFC to the WWE, and nobody was buying it.
Yeah,
she got over for a little bit.
They spent too much money on her. They had to push her, no matter how awful she was doing. They just had to push it. So,
yeah, we're behind it at first, but the minute they turned on her, she couldn't pivot with it.
Yeah,
yeah.
When they actually gave her a storyline and like actually made her a part of it, she was not keeping up with it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go two more categories on this. This made up terrible wrestler here. I'm going to now add in ring gear. So I am going to go with it's pretty basic, Naked Midian. If you don't remember, Naked Midian literally came out damn near nude. He had nothing but a fanny pack on and just looked absolutely disgusting. So I'm going Naked Midian.
That's a good one.
I'll give it over to you, Charlie.
All right. Okay, well, I would say someone we touched on last week, Mantor. But I'm going to have to double dip and use Giant Gonzalez again. Can we take a second and remember his costume?
Yes.
It was airbrushed, painted hair and fake muscles with nipples.
I remember.
And he had fur.
And he had fur. Who thought of that?
I remember that in what was it, SummerSlam?
Was he a monster? What? No, WrestleMania 9. He went against the Undertaker.
That's what I remember.
They might have had
right in the Coliseum or whatever.
Yeah, it was outside in Vegas.
Yeah, I do remember that match. I had that on VHS.
You love Giant Gonzalez. I remember you had the shirt, the hat.
Yeah,
big Giant Gonzalez man.
My parents were always buying me all that stuff. The only thing I was getting was my Ninja Turtles, boy. Cowabunga.
Troy Aikman, Giant Gonzalez.
All right. Do we want to throw in any other ring gear here? Or are we going to pick between those two?
That's good. You know,
Giant Gonzalez was borderline offensive.
Yeah, he was some sort of barbarian.
That's why it's good to have a girl's perspective, because to us it was just that I could see as a woman it could be offensive.
Yeah, like little kids. Like that's for like little kids. That was not all right.
He's pretty much naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was faux nudity. We're going Giant Gonzalez with the ring gear, and next we will add in entrance. And I'm going a little different here. So this entrance never technically happened. We've mentioned this guy before in our botch bracket, but I'm going the Shockmaster's entrance. Have this guy come out falling through a wall. That's all I'm saying. I'm going Shockmaster for intro, entrance, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going Shockmaster.
I'm not going to say that I'll probably agree with that, but I'll just play devil's advocate and quote Jimmy Cornette: anything that comes out of a box is over. So I don't know if you remember when Terry Funk was Chainsaw Charlie and he cut through the box. And that's that was just the way they used to get guys over, was leave them in boxes as a surprise, like for 3 weeks in a row, and then they would just reveal them. But yeah, that's shitty, but nothing beats the Shockmaster.
Agreed.
You know, I want to change. I want to throw one more in here real quick. We could talk about the Gobbledygooker. If this was super old.
Oh, you know what's even more sad about? You know who he was?
Wasn't it Tito Santana?
No, it was I think it was Hector Guerrero. It was one of the.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. yeah.
Probably one of the greatest wrestling families of all time. He was probably an amazing worker, and they made him a turkey.
They built it up for weeks and weeks. There was just this egg, and it was supposed to be it was going to hatch at Survivor Series. Going to be this cool thing, and it's a friggin' chicken, a giant chicken cracked out of the egg,
and then
at Survivor Series.
That's right.
Watching Mean Gene dance with him, even as a kid, I was like, "This is bad. This is shit.
This is awkward."
Yeah,
it was uncomfortable to watch.
So we're gonna go.
So I think that's. So hang on, can I recap?
Yes. I'm glad you wrote it down.
So I want everyone try to get this mental image. We got Marco Stunt's body with Giant Gonzalez's ring gear.
Oh God.
With the promo skills of and the facial expressions of Ronda Rousey,
Oh,
and who is the wrestling skills we give to? Great Khali.
Did we do? I don't think we even did wrestling, Billy, but we'll give it to Great Khali. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So just imagine what a shitball that that is, and then he falls when he makes his entrance. I don't fire him. I kill him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I can get this guy over.
oh my God, the walking calamity.
That's his name.
I'm
There
not
you go.
gonna.
Yep.
I'm not. I will never take the Lord's name in vain, but I don't know if Jesus could get this guy over.
That's good. So please send me those notes as well. I'll put it in Chat GPT and I will create this image for us. We'll make this
Oh,
Oh my
another
god.
after the vaginal crossface. This is our next shirt. The
Oh
walking
God, this is
calamity.
gonna be vile.
All right. That was our intro question. That ran a little long, but that was fun. That was good. That was a good creation we made there. All right, we're going to jump into our next segment. We'll jump into our next bracket. And this week we're going to do a bracket we're going to start the bracket of the greatest heel of all time. So we picked 8 heels. Don't argue with us. This is our list. If you think there's somebody better, make your own list. We got 8 people we put in here. I think you'll agree with most of them. We're going to attempt to determine who is the greatest heel of all time out of these 8. So, in our first matchup, we have the $1 Million Man. So, sure, everybody's pretty familiar with the $1 Million Man. In case you're younger and not, go back, watch some of his promos. Very racist undertones in his promos. I just sent one to Charlie the other day.
Owner.
He owned a slave. He owned 2 black people. We talked about this already. He owned Virgil and he owned Sweet Sapphire. Who fell off the face of the earth. Who knows what he did? He probably sold her. So he, very rich guy. And one of his most famous segments, he was offering money, $500 to a kid to dribble a basketball 15 times, probably a little 8-year-old kid, and kicks the basketball away at 15 and takes the money. And I genuinely think that kid thought he was going to win the money. If you watch that segment, it's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
For the kid. You can see it in the kid's face. So, $1 Million Man is our first one, and he is going to go up against a more modern wrestler. We're going Randy Orton here. So Randy Orton as a heel. We're not talking about his face run, only as a heel. Did some pretty vile stuff. Punt kicking Vince McMahon, attempted to do it to Stephanie, and then kissing Stephanie on the mat while Triple H was tied up in the corner, chained up in the corner. So a lot of stuff like that. Very vile type of wrestling maneuvers, I would say. So we'll do Randy Orton versus $1 Million Man, and we will start with Jeremy.
Now, this one I think it's tough because who do I want to give it to? I like Randy Orton as a heel, and I enjoyed watching all that and like him even more as a face. Ted DiBiase, there, like what you said with kicking the ball away and everything, like there were reasons to hate him. I don't think I came around at that age where I was just easily influenced, believing all of it's real and everything. I think he was a bigger heel for me than Randy Orton is. I got to appreciate Orton's heel in a different perspective as I was older versus when I was a little kid. So that one stuck more for me at home.
I'll give it over to Charlie.
I will also go with the $1 Million Man. I just want to point something up. Jeremy, you said what stuck with you and bothered you is kicking the ball out of the kid's hands. Not that he owned people. To me, that might that bothers me a little bit more that he owned human beings.
I didn't know that was like a real thing then. I was a little kid. I'm relating to the little one like I'm dribbling a ball about to get $500 and dude kicks it like bruh. Grab that ball, throw it back at his face.
I'm
busting your balls. I think $1 Million Man is one of the ultimate heels. And a heel in true sense of the word, where he will kick a ball out of a kid, that needs the money. He will
corrupt.
He'll buy somebody. When he can't win his own championship, he buys his own championship. And he wore a cape at one point. I mean, which is ultimate villainy. So, I mean, a million dollar man, as one of my best friends used to call him, the money man.
He might be on this call.
Oh, God damn you guys.
All right, Kathy.
Logistics wise, because I'm big on logistics. Randy Orton, I don't think Million Dollar Man ever won the WWE Championship. I think he only really won like the $1 million. Basically, he won his own events. Like that doesn't obviously.
He rigged his own event.
Good heel. Randy Orton's what 15, 16 plus everything else plus whatever. I'm gonna go Randy Orton. I mean, he's primarily almost his whole career has been the heel. He's kind of the new age. Like everybody knows he is that guy. And even today he's that guy. So I think just resume wise, obviously, I'm going to go with Randy Orton and slightly less offensive in today's world. So we'll go with that one. He's able to be offensive without being offensive. Yeah, literally buying people. So
stuff you can't get over in today's WWE. Let's just say that.
This could get interesting now. So 4 people could get interesting. You might have to convince somebody. But so I was like 2 minutes ago, I was 100% $1 million man. But Kathy just sold me on a couple of things.
I know
so
that argument. That
was a good argument. So now I don't know. Now I got to think this back. I love Randy.
But I like his heel aspect. So it's like, who was the person I hated more?
And you summed it up perfectly.
I guess like you, if you are that much of a heel, yes, not winning a title is actually your job. Like your job is to push over the face, and that's, I guess, where that can be where $1 Million Man wins that one, or he just wasn't enough.
I'm back with $1 Million Man.
Yeah,
Randy Orton was the Joker taking over Gotham.
Yeah, so I was going to say exactly kind of what Jeremy was just saying. Like Randy Orton, even as a heel, like I was still rooting for Randy Orton. I wanted to see him to punt Stephanie, like would have been cool. Whereas $1 Million Man, I was a kid too, so it was kind of designed for me. I hated $1 Million Man. So it's so tough because I love Randy, and that resume is significantly bigger, and he was always a heel when he won the title. But I'm going to stick with $1 Million Man. I'm going to go $1 Million Man on this one, only because I hated him and Randy I cheered for. So I'll go $1 Million Man on this one. And
just squeaking into the next round.
That one was a good one.
So $1 Million Man will move on to our semifinals, and he will face the winner of this one. So there is pretty much your classic heels, and these are 2 of them. And one of them is one of the biggest names in wrestling history. We're going Ric Flair. I don't think I need to explain much on this one. We all know who Ric Flair is. We know his resume. He's pretty much the wrestler and the human being are pretty much the same person. So Ric Flair, and we're going up against another classic, the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik, the first real anti-American heel back in the 80s, maybe even in the 70s. So had pure hate going for him, and absolutely hilarious too. Like when you see him in interviews, I think he was unintentionally funny, but just the way he came off as a heel in real life was phenomenal as well. So this one will kind of be our legends bracket here, and we will go Ric Flair with the Iron Sheik, and we'll start this one off with Kathy. You can start this one.
Loser gets to start this one. Okay. I'm gonna go Iron Sheik. I think he did his job so well as the heel in the Hulk match. He literally started Hulkamania. Like he did his job so well. He started one of the biggest gimmicks in wrestling history. So I think that counts for something. So I'll stick with that. And everybody, I mean, like you said with Randy Orton, like you kind of rooted for Ric Flair. You liked his thing. You wanted him to get the girls and the money and everything. Like you wanted that for him. And Iron Sheik, whether it was racial undertones or whatever it was at that time.
He was the heel who was over.
He was the heel that was, his whole purpose was to just push people over. And he, like I said, he pushed one of the biggest gimmicks of wrestling history.
Great. So we got one
I
for the Iron
can't
Sheik.
disagree on that one. I'm bored with Kathy. Like same with Ric Flair. Like I liked him even when he was a heel. I wanted to see that stuff, but Iron Sheik, growing up then, that he was bad. It was like like I only saw him as a kid, and it's
Name
like
one Iron
this
Sheik
man bad.
match.
Absolutely not, because I could barely remember any of his matches.
You quote Ric Flair at least like once a day. So yeah.
Yeah. So you're going Iron Sheik, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Ooh, all right, Charlie.
Okay, I want to preface this by saying, I think in real life, I think Iron Sheik turned out to be like a mensch. He was a real good guy. People,
100%.
he was funny. You
Ric
know,
Flair's a degenerate.
Brian Blair, I fuck you in your ass. You know, he went on the Killers of Comedy tour, and Ric Flair is still chasing after like 20-year-old girls. He's talking about how
He's a dirty
Noel
old man.
Fuddy is so hot. I want to bang it. He's disgusting. So in real life, I would have that way, but in the fantasy world of wrestling, I'm gonna go with the Iron Sheik. Iran #1 USA. But also for the reason Catherine shit said, he jump started the biggest movement in the history of professional wrestling, and that's got to account for something.
Yeah.
Wow, this
100%.
I'm going to say this is probably the biggest upset we've seen yet. I think I'm going Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair is a natural human heel. I mean, Iron Sheik moves on regardless. You guys all got Iron Sheik, but I'm going Ric Flair. He was a heel in real life. He's a heel in his character. He's just the heel. He completely encompasses being a heel in every aspect of his life. So
He
I would give it
breathes
to
and
him.
sleeps heel.
He does. He does. And I'm
I don't
honestly,
know how he's not dead yet.
Yeah.
Him and
He's like Keith
Jagger,
Richards.
Keith Richards. Yeah. All right, so Iron Sheik moves on. I'm actually surprised. I thought Ric Flair would get to the finals. So wow, Iron Sheik
He's
moves
out
on.
walking
Next
Ozzy
week,
Osbourne right now.
Iron Sheik will take on the $1 million man next week in our semifinals.
Money
and we
Man.
got two more today.
Money
So we
Man.
got a very classic one as well. Attitude Era. We're going Mr. McMahon, not Vince McMahon, the human being, although the line is kind of blurred. We're going Mr. McMahon, the wrestling personality. And again,
The
probably don't need to say
steroid
much on that. If you were around during the Attitude Era, you know it's Austin McMahon feud is probably the biggest feud of all time in all of wrestling, probably the most famous. So Mr. McMahon, and he will go up against another
Parallel to Dana and Tito, I would say, too.
I'd say Austin McMahon's probably a little bigger, but sure. And then he will go up
real
against
easy to get through.
Eddie Guerrero, lie, cheat, and steal. We know how Eddie would cheat in every match to win. He literally put Rey Mysterio through a custody battle match for Dominic Mysterio. I mean, it doesn't get more heelish than that. He claimed to be Dominic's father. I mean, that's pretty heelish. And like I said, cheated in every match to win. So real classic heel tactics by Eddie Guerrero. So yeah, Mr. McMahon versus Eddie Guerrero. And we'll go, Jeremy, you can go ahead and start this one.
Ugh. This one's tough. Because I do love roided up Vince McMahon and that whole heel turn against Austin when everybody just eat, breathe, and sleep Austin 316 during that. So it was very entertaining to watch how Austin would go about mucking up his day, so to speak.
So
I hate when people muck up my day.
And then you had Eddie, who we knew every match somehow he would cheat, and it would piss you off every single time because it'd be something different or something you knew was coming, but you just didn't quite see. Sometimes you did. I think I'm gonna have to go Eddie. I enjoyed hating Vince, but that was a long time going on for many other reasons. Eddie, I genuinely hated then. More than anything, it was just it was annoying how he would just find a way, like get away with every win, and you were just angry about it.
Wow. Okay. Charlie, you were going to say something.
Hey, it's John Lennon.
I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to educate my dear friend Jeremy on what a monstrous. I can't even talk. I'm so angry. What a horrible decision that is.
It's my opinion.
If you use the logic that we just used to Iron Sheik, how he kickstarted Hulkamania, McMahon kickstarted the hottest period of wrestling history.
He wasn't the only one involved in it. You had The Rock also going on during Austin 316.
During the hottest time, yeah, The Rock was a great heel, but him and Austin had the best rivalry in the Attitude Era, and he was the best heel in the Attitude Era, which most people, not me, but most people consider the greatest time of wrestling. I don't think you can go against him. And Eddie Guerrero, when he was over, he would still cheat, and people would love it. Like when he untied the laces from his boot when Kurt Angle was putting him in it, people were cheering. They were going nuts. They were going banana, as Pat Patterson.
Fine, you swayed me.
Right. Thank you.
So I guess, Charlie, your vote is
Vince.
Clearly. And this is
Clearly.
before he pooped on people's heads.
He was doing it at that time. Let's be real.
No,
He was
totally.
definitely doing it.
That was probably the prime time.
Yeah.
With all the rights, he was backed up like nobody's business.
Oh God. All right. We're gonna keep it moving after that. Kathy, your vote.
Like I know you said obviously not Vince McMahon, it's Mr. McMahon, but like in reality he was the same person. Especially now that we've gotten like the real information on everything. I was like he just got to like pretend that wasn't his real life, and it was almost like he was mocking us. Like, hey, yeah, you guys think this is like a joke. And there's like, no, this is really like
the whole time
in the real life.
Really that
the whole time he was that guy.
Ric Flair and him would go walk hand in hand.
Oh my God. Imagine what those two decrepit men could do now.
Oh my God. Like I watched the documentary and I was like,
don't put them in the home together.
Like, this really happened.
Yeah. He's a horrible person.
Imagine a senior citizen home ran by Vince McMahon and Ric Flair.
Oh God.
I mean, obviously Eddie Guerrero had some acting involved, so I guess we could give him some credit for that. But I think Vince McMahon throughout his career he started out trying to be the bad guy. He just was always the bad guy. So Vince McMahon.
Oh,
Mr. McMahon. Right. I correct myself.
Mr. McMahon. Yeah, as you said, probably the same person.
Yeah.
Easy one for me too. I'm going Mr. McMahon. There's no question on that. Love Eddie, but yeah. He was the cool heel too, so I got to go Mr. McMahon as a pure heel, as a human being and the wrestler.
Yeah.
So Mr. McMahon will move on, and then we have our last match for this week. We've got Hollywood Hogan. So after the infamous heel turn when he joined the NWO, so that period of time, versus another one who could. Listen, I don't want to get political here, but this guy could be viewed as a hero nowadays, but was definitely a heel at that time. JBL. So. If you're not aware, JBL, we're talking about the Justin Bradshaw Layfield JBL, not
coming out in a limo.
Yeah, coming out in a limo, arresting immigrants at the border, actually beating up immigrants at the border.
They did a segment where he did that.
Yeah. So he did all these things, downgraded everybody because he was so rich. Talked down about the blue collar workers, and I mean his title run as well was. He was
the next $1 million man.
Kind of, yeah. So we'll go Hollywood Hogan versus JBL, and we will start it off with. I don't think Charlie went first, so you can go first on this one.
Okay. So yeah, JBL I think is definitely an underrated heel, and the way that they took a tag team guy. Well, first of all, he was like a jobber. Then he became an APA guy, which they started going. Then he started getting his. So to see a guy start and finish, I would have never pegged him as a championship level. And he had a year with the belt, and he carried the blue brand for a while. So I give him a lot of credit. He did terrible things, like Joe said. He's like a real life. He was a real life ICE agent, hunting up people, rounding them up. So But that was just to get heat with Guerrero, and they wanted to get that Mexican viewership. But again, I think you can't underestimate how big that leg drop was. When the outsiders, we didn't know who the third man was, and Hulk Hogan comes out and he drops that leg. The wrestling world got turned on the side of its head, and I think that's one of the, again, we're talking about big, huge moments. What's a better moment than that? And I hated Hulk Hogan up until then, and then I started to like him because he was kind of cool, coming out with the Jimi Hendrix, the guitar stuff, like, so absolutely, Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan. All right. I'll go over to Kathy next.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's another like staple in the history of what start like that was the beginning of the NWO, like big turn into being such a big deal. Wasn't JBL, he was in finance or something. There was another thing. They like took his real life and like made him that character. So
he used to have a show on Fox, and it was like a financial show. But then there was a house show over in Germany, and to get cheap heat, he did the Hitler salute, and so he got fired off that Fox show. But yes, he was like a financial guy. Yeah, he had his book.
I think people more remember him as the commentator than the wrestler. So obviously his imprint on everything was not as major as obviously Hollywood Hogan or Hulk Hogan in general. It's like, wasn't that wrestling party we had? Didn't one of you guys dress up as Hollywood Hogan?
Sandy.
Sandy, that's what it was. Yeah, dyed his beard, the whole nine.
Yeah. R.I.P. Matt Sneap.
And Gozik was Hacksaw, Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw, yep.
I was Vince.
So, Kathy, your vote was Hogan?
Yeah, Hogan.
So we got 2 for Hogan. Jeremy?
It's an easy one for me with Hogan as well, just because of how much more of a staple it was to the industry, because that's when WCW was kind of a little bit more over than WWE at that time. When that was all transpiring, they were getting all the older talent that had more recognition, and the traction was just there more than JBL. JBL was, I felt like a filler for that storyline they were going with. It didn't really draw like the passion that you would see in other ones, but again, in comparison to the WCW with that one, it was minimal at best.
Well, I'll be the one different here. I'm going JBL, even though Hollywood Hogan move in, and I move on. Hollywood Hogan deserves to move on, but I had personal hate for JBL. So you talk about I hate Punk, so I'll go JBL and then Punk. JBL. Let's mention when he took liberties with the Blue Meanie and the ECW show, and was and then but he did get his payback. Stevie Richards with one of the most brutal chair shots of all time. If you haven't seen it, go look that up. That was intense. But he got his receipt for that. And then, Charlie stole my thunder on the other one, the Germany incident where he was walking on his heel toe walking and throwing his arm up like a Nazi salute. So JBL is a heel in real life. He was a bully backstage. I go JBL mainly for that reason, and Hogan was cool. So, but yeah, Hollywood Hogan moves on. So our semifinals are set for next week. Next week we'll have $1 Million Man versus the Iron Sheik. And we'll have Mr. McMahon versus JBL, and then the winner of that will go to the finals.
I just want to add a point. I will talk to your good friend, regular host Joe. I hope JBL deporting a lot of your Lucha Libre colleagues didn't factor into your decision. I just want to make sure you're clear-headed on this. But
I'm such a little bias.
While there's a rich history of Mexican Lucha Libre, please don't forget I'm the Italian luchador.
The Italian, yes.
La Flama Blanca.
Yeah, but you've wrestled all over the world, Blanca.
It's true. I have. I've wrestled all over the world. So that's our bracket for this week. We'll move on to the semifinals next week, and we will move into our merch table with the man of 1,000 figures, the merch master, Charlie.
All right. Since we're running a little, I think, behind schedule, I'll try to go a little bit quick here, but still give you something. I'm gonna keep it newer. Not go so old, but some rare. I don't know if they're rare, but just unique ones I like. Does anyone remember when Razor Ramon shockingly lost to on Monday Night Raw to the eventual 1-2-3 Kid? Well, it was
Yeah.
actually he was still the Lightning Kid, and this is the outfit he wore for that monumental Raw episode, which pretty much started his career. Then this again, he's on missionary work, so I wish he was here to see this because he he loves this guy a lot. It's his favorite Paul Heyman guy of all time. Um, Curtis Axel. I mean, you can't get more generic than him until you find out his figure. It is pretty much it sums up who Curtis was in a nutshell. It's plain and get out.
It looks like
Feels like a
something
very-
you get in a video game that's like build your character, and that's the base.
Yeah. Your avatar.
In honor of what's coming up, we have a older, but not too old. I think it's like 97.
Is that Gilbert?
Goldberg.
Oh,
No,
I
it's
thought it was
Goldberg. And yeah,
couldn't tell with the face. Sorry.
me and my cousin being childish, we always used to do this with him. If you squeeze his legs together,
Yep.
Goldberg's whacking it. And then last but not least, this is a Jack specific. I want to see if any of you can guess who this is before I tell you. Can you guess? I think they probably used the Chris Jericho model head.
Can I get a time frame?
2000s, 2005, 2006, 2010, maybe.
John
I don't know.
Morrison?
Brian Kendrick,
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
formerly known as Spanky.
That's awful.
Yeah, it looks. I really think they used a Chris Jericho head scan because it looks like Chris Jericho. But I don't remember seeing a lot of Brian Kendricks, so we'll throw
I've
that
never
one.
seen
in
a
there.
lot of them either way.
Yeah.
In general.
And last but not least, we'll do the Soul Man, Rocky Johnson, The Rock's father. Little shuffle right there in his nice robe. Him and Tony Atlas were the first African American WWE Tag Team Champions. So they got some history. There he is. All right. That's a cool figure. And that was your merch table for the week, friends.
I will say there's finally a figure that my good friend Joe had. That Goldberg figure, I know he had it as well. But did not do simulated sex acts with it.
Liar.
Lies.
Lies.
Every kid did it. Every boy found out about that and thought it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah. If you didn't show that to your friend at school, you
Watch this. Watch this.
All right. That was this week's merch table. Thank you again for that. Another fun week of some weird figures. At least Brian Kendrick was weird. Didn't look like him. All right, we'll jump into our deep dive. Again, we're going to focus this one on some women's wrestling with Evolution coming up this weekend. So the question I posed this week is, who will more likely go down as the greatest women's wrestler of all time? Charlotte Flair or Rhea Ripley? And if you don't think it's either one of them, who do you think? That's just my two that I would put up there as probably the two biggest of all time when it's all said and done, at least for right now. But yeah, open for discussion on that.
I'll jump in. I think you got to throw Becky Lynch in there, but if you're having the conversation between these two, and I can definitely see it being these two, mine's Charlotte Flair. She was the first women's wrestler I was super impressed with, where I would watch a women's wrestling match that wasn't a bra and panties match. I think she's an overall amazing athlete. I wish she had a story like Rhea's where she loved wrestling, and unfortunately her story is a little different. And her marriage record is like her daddy's, but
He's a spawn of her father.
Yeah, we're not going outside. We're going talking about in-ring work and stuff. So I think she cuts a not a wonderful promo, but a pretty good promo. She has awesome entrances, and she puts on bangers of matches that can go 30 minutes. Yeah, when we were talking about making the worst wrestler, if you were to make the best female wrestler, I can make a case you would pick all attributes Charlotte Flair, except maybe the mic skills, but even that she's pretty good at. So Charlotte for me.
I'll make an argument here. I haven't made my decision yet, but I will say an argument for Rhea Ripley is that connection to the crowd. I don't think Charlotte ever had quite that connection that she has. So Rhea Ripley, even as a heel, like connected with the fans. She has, I mean, she's cool. You see guys coming to the events wearing her shirts. She has the
She's
cool
unattractive
entrance.
though.
I would highly disagree with that.
You
That
are
will save that
insane.
conversation for another episode.
That has something to play into it. If you ask,
hold on.
I'm not
Time out.
blind.
Time out. So
Wait
let
a
me
second.
get this straight. You would say Charlotte
ahead.
Flair is more attractive than Rhea Ripley.
100%.
Oh
Charlotte
my
Flair just
god!
like reconstructed her whole face. I didn't recognize her recently.
Not before the Catwoman surgery. Maybe no, but
Never.
I don't like Rhea Ripley.
Never.
Charlotte
Did you
Flair.
like Rhea when she was like blonde and like
Not really.
before that whole spiel
No,
started?
she's too big for me. Give me Liv Morgan. I think she's
not in this conversation.
I don't care. I'm making her in this conversation.
Charlotte Flair wore skin tight shorts that were baggy on her. I'll just say that.
Yes,
it was baggy in the
All right,
back.
Baggy, yeah, falling.
Hey, she has
nothing
no
claps
butt,
but
okay?
air, boy.
She's got no butt. I can relate. I know what that's like.
Straight to hamstrings. No glutes.
But back to my original argument. Again, Rhea's connection to the crowd is huge. She's amazing in the ring. That entrance is awesome. Again, we talk about Karrion Kross's entrance as being like one of the coolest. I think she probably has the coolest women's entrance at least. So like that's super cool. She has Motionless White perform with her for her entrance at WrestleMania. I mean, so all those factors, I think she's great in the ring. I think she's a better promo than Charlotte. Charlotte's promos are very cringy at points, especially now. But I will make that argument in Rhea's behalf that her promos are definitely, I would say, better than Charlotte's. But again, for Charlotte, there's just an aura around Charlotte. When she comes out, you feel it. It's different with her. You have, you just know something. It's something special when she comes out. There's a whole different feeling with her. She's like another kind of level, I think. Very similar to her father, Ric Flair. There's just that whole Flair name associated with her. And I don't think it's just that. I think she is genuinely super talented in the ring. She's put on some classic matches and she really boosted. She came in at that time. We were coming out of the Divas era, right? And we were going into like actual women's wrestling. And she kind of led the way with that. I mean, maybe you could say Paige or AJ Lee kind of started that. But I think she really took that and ran with it and built that women's division. So again, as much as like, you know, what I was saying about Rhea, I think it's a close race. And I think maybe in the long run, Rhea gets there. But I think right now it would still be Charlotte to me, just because, you know, she just has the accolades and she has that whole Flair aura every time she enters the ring. So
I'm gonna have to disagree. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know. Like in the beginning, I was really into her, but it was just the same thing over and over. And every time she was just always pushed straight to the top. She was always. I just got sick of looking at her. Like I just got sick of the same conversation. It was just so predictable, and that part of it I didn't like. I want to say it's going to be Ripley, but unfortunately, it's going to end up being Charlotte, and that's the problem for me. I'm just overlooking at her and everything she does because it's the same match every time. It's great. It's definitely entertaining. I appreciate her talent and I appreciate what she does. And I think it was cool for a while there. She really didn't attach to the Flair thing. Like she really tried to do her own thing for a little while, but it worked in her favor to deal with, you know, add the woo to her jacket and like do all the stuff. But I'm going to pick Rhea just because I really hope that happens, but I'm pretty positive it's not going to.
I got a point to make on that, but I'll wait to see what Jeremy's got to say.
So I'll put it to you this way. I think that the ceiling has to be higher for Charlotte to reach it than Rhea, where she's got her father's shadow she's never going to escape. So Rhea stands out more because you're always going to think of her father first. So she has to do something so much more to do that.
Her dad's
in my
the
eyes.
Undertaker, dude.
He's really thinking about that.
No.
I'm bad at that.
No, I'm not playing this game with you.
I thought you. I thought
got him. You got him.
No, I just sat there like I know you're trying to throw me off.
I saw the
no,
gears
it's not
moving.
happening. Absolutely,
The smoke
not.
was coming.
But no,
Yeah,
like
he was thinking.
No. I'm mad at you for this one. But no, I think that like ultimately Rhea, the storyline more like it's not always the in the ring work, it's out of the ring and like the promos and the storyline. And I think hers just gravitate more to the crowd where what Kathy was saying with Charlotte, like it's vanilla kind of with her.
That's what like Rhea has different storylines. She fits into a lot of different things, and Charlotte's story is almost the same. She just shows up and she's there, and
it's
she does this great
regurgitated.
match. And she does a fantastic match. I'm not going to take that away from her, but she has one mode, and that is working for her, which is great. But challenge her at least, and maybe I can follow her into it.
Yep.
So I'll make a point here for Jeremy. So Jeremy, Mr. John Cena, is going against Charlotte, who was kind of the female John Cena. So we talked about the same matches. Again, kind of has the same matches, the same kind of thing going on the whole career. How could you go against Charlotte? It's the same thing John Cena.
The thugonomics is what got him really over. And then it became the never give up and everything and all that stuff. Like he had layers to his like storylines more than she did. A lot more.
I can give you a little bit of that. I will say that. That's a little bit true.
Her dead brother in a story. That's pretty gross.
Did she? I don't remember that. Reader. I remember that from her book. I don't remember that being an actual storyline, but sure, I'll give you that one. That's a little dark. But yeah, I mean, I think Kathy, you said this already, is like it's not said and done yet, right? I think Rhea should probably be there because she does have a lot of different, and a little bit of what Jeremy was saying too. There's a lot of different kind of layers to Rhea, where Charlotte, it is kind of like that, she's that famous, rich, super talented wrestler with a very famous dad. And Rhea Ripley has a lot of layers, and you saw her transition from when she first came up, like you said, with the blonde hair and, kind of girl next door look to what she is now, which is way different. So again, it could be Rhea in the long run. I'll just say Charlotte because I feel like that same John Cena energy, and we're talking about him in like the greatest of all time conversation. So I put Charlotte in there as well, for the women, but has yet to be seen. So
future's bright for either one of them still, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
One of them.
I mean, Charlotte's getting
up there.
Tail end, yeah.
But
Rhea still got time, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So I don't know that we
Paige's level at her peak.
100%.
You're talking about Rhea, or you're talking about Charlotte?
Rhea, because they're
I would say
kind
yes.
of gothy type.
Yeah, but Rhea's way better in the ring.
I would take Rhea over her.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm surprised we wouldn't add Becky to the conversation. Becky's up there.
I think you have, like, if we were to do like a tier list,
Jeremy,
I think you have these.
Why are you picking on me? I didn't even say anything.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said no.
I didn't say a single thing. My God, ready to jump down my throat.
My apologies. Here, let me put my John Lennon glasses back on. Sorry.
Jeremy did say he did sneak it in. He said Bertha Faye should have been in this conversation, but we didn't include her. But I think if you had a tier list, I think you'd have Rhea and Charlotte up there. Then Becky would be. You have like that S tier, and then you have the A tier, and that A tier would be like Becky, and then talk about some other people there. That's just my opinion, but I think those two.
I that Lita.
Yeah, there you go, Lita. Even maybe Trish Stratus, not as talented in the ring, but definitely had the influence. So, all right, we'll see. We'll see who. Leave it to Jeremy.
This guy can turn anything dirty.
Like Joey from Friends.
All right, we're going to move into our last segment of the week, the gimmick of the week, as we always do. So we've had a little trend still going of weird, obscure, half human, half animals. This one, I will say, is probably top 3 corniest gimmicks of all time in my list. This has got to be one of the worst, and I'll give you some reasons why in a minute here. But we're going from a wrestler from the, I guess, kind of the golden era still of wrestling in WWE, 1990 Battle Cat. So I'll describe this guy a little bit if you haven't seen him. He was a pretty good in shape guy, looked very athletic. You know, even the gear he wore was not bad until you looked at his face. So he had a black cat mask on that looked like kind of an actual cat. Like they didn't try to make it cool or any. Like if you look at guys today, like the Beast
It had like
Mordos and
sparkles. Like they went
yes,
full furry with it.
yes, it had sparkles
Cosplay
in
and
the
all.
fur. So really, really bad look. Even in that
worthy.
era, it didn't get over. So he was portrayed by 2 different people. He was only in the WWE for less than a year. They had faith in this gimmick, and it was 2 different guys in the costume. So it's
Wait, can I take a guess? Can I take a guess?
You're never gonna guess. There's no shot.
All right. I was gonna say Al Snow as was one.
No.
Okay.
No, so I don't think you know either name. The first one was a guy by the name of Brady Boone, and then he got released, and they brought in a new guy named Bob Bradley, who took over as this character, which I guess they had
I
high
wish I
hopes for.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like,
Um,
it's a very similar name. That gets really confusing if you look at
Double
it.
B.
Yeah, it's double B's for both of them. And Brady Boone went on to continue to have a career after this. So he went to WCW and became a referee. So maybe you know him from there. Go look up Brady Boone.
God
WCW,
bless
maybe
him.
you'll see.
And that followed him. He was like something cat, like that gimmick of being a cat followed him for the rest of his career.
I don't think
Yeah,
that's
I
when you
didn't even
can
know that.
stay.
So-
Once
That's
you
awful.
get once you're a cat, I don't know if you can come out of that.
But
Once you're
it's
cat,
a
you
really
don't come back.
really silly, corny gimmick. And the sad part is like, so the idea behind this character was because this guy had like cat-like reflexes. Let's make him like a cat. But like, you could have done it in a cool way, right? You could have
Yeah.
just given him the nickname, the Battle Cat, and made him a normal person. But this guy
They
was
had
good in the ring.
Thundercats to go off of. Come on
That
now.
too. Yeah. But
Was that where they were basing it off of?
Clearly not.
No,
No,
right?
not even close.
Thundercats were like
Cool.
earlier 80s, right? And this was 90.
yeah. This was
so they
90.
had that to know what cool
You
cats
could've.
look like.
Right, but they just went a different way with it.
Clearly, it
But
fit.
anyway, so this guy was actually really talented in the ring. If you watch, especially at that time, he was a high flyer. He was fast. He did a lot of cool stuff. Like he was at least who I watched, Brady Boone or Bob Bradley. I don't know which one it was. Both of them were pretty good in the ring. So you could have made this cooler. Just get rid of the cat gimmick, because not only did he have a cat mask. If you make it all the way through one of his matches, at the end of the match, he starts dancing like a cat and doing cat maneuvers. And
It's so bad.
oh, it's very bad. It's very, very bad. I promise you. Please watch it. You will.
And
you'll
if
be
you listen
scarred
to
for,
the
like,
commentary, like from the guys, they're
Bobby
like
Heenan.
they're selling vitamins. Like they don't even know what to say. They're just, that's their like advertising window, I guess, because they're just like, oh, this is having cat-like reflexes. Take your vitamins.
And it's funny too, because you can tell like Bobby Heenan
Shameless
isn't taking this seriously at all, because as he's like,
Yeah.
he's doing it professionally, but he's making all really corny cat jokes. He's saying, how come this guy's not curled up next to a fireplace right now?
Yeah.
And it's really, really bad. Like this is, I hands down on all the gimmicks we've done so far, this is by far the worst. I mean, it doesn't get much
Worse
worse
than
than this.
Furface?
It had a longer run.
It had a longer run than Furface. It's true. Furface, at least, I don't know. It's bad, but this is just. If Furface did a cat-like dance after he attacked people, then I give it to Furface. But just go watch that cat dance, and you will see exactly why
I gotta see the
this
cat
guy
dance.
was the worst.
And it could have been like the mask could have been tougher. Like it literally had, like, out of the ears, there's like confetti coming out of the ears, and it's got a pink nose. Like it's
God,
bad. It's so bad.
It's really
It's probably-
bad
it makes
There's
me
probably
angry.
a rib on somebody. There's probably a rib on the poor guy.
on both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They thought it was such a good thing that they gave it to somebody else instead of just letting it die when they released it.
No,
they,
you don't
they
understand. This
continued
has
it.
so much
Yeah,
potential.
there's so much potential here.
I think Vince is such an
untapped
egomaniac. He
potential.
thinks he can get anything over. So I could see that happening.
Oh yeah.
He rips a line. I like it.
And I'm going to throw this out there now too. Next stipulation that Jeremy loses. Jeremy is wearing the Battle Cat mask and doing the cat dance. He's got a
100%.
couple DQs already. So we're adding Jeremy's stipulation is the Battle Cat dance with the mask. It's
Book
decided.
it. I'm booking it right now.
Book it right now.
Done.
I pray for Jeremy's next loss.
Jeremy, that's a legally binding contract, even though you didn't agree to it.
Denied.
All right. So these two guys, again, Brady Boone moved on to become a WCW referee and have a career there. And then Bob Bradley was used as an enhancement talent in WWE for some time after that, but kind of faded into non-existence after that. So that's kind of where those guys ended up. Didn't really go far after this. And Battle Cat was retired before the end of 1990, which September it started. So keep that in mind. It started in September. It ended before the end of 1990. So it was like 3 months. So pretty bad. And two guys.
Two guys.
So Battle Cat, you are officially, in my book at least, the worst gimmick we've covered so far.
Who pushed it that much? Come on now. What storyteller was
especially back then when like nothing, like I would almost get it now because like we're out of ideas. We're almost at a point in life where like we've done it all. They've done everything. Like this was early on when they were like, this is it. This is what we're gonna do because nobody's done it before.
What hasn't did he do?
I mean, Vince McMahon did make Keith Lee the Bearcat, so there's that too. I don't even know what a Bearcat is.
Yeah,
I know what
he do a silly dance.
Is.
Jeremy, that's like the third time you brought up Man Bear Pig on this show. Let's just talk about Man Bear Pig.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a conversation right now about it.
I'm gonna let Man Bear Pig slide. All right, so that was our gimmick of the week, and that's our episode for the week. So thank you for tuning in. Joe will be back next week. La Flama Blanca is very happy to have been here and help host with you guys, and we'll be very happy to take this mask off shortly after we get off this video. So yes, but with that, thank you, Kathy, for joining us. It was a very good conversation, and I know you very closely coerced some of us to change our picks, so that's always a good sign. So with that, I will hand it over to Charlie to take us out.
2 quick things. Kathy, hell of a debut episode. Glad to have you on the team.
Thank you much.
And a shout out to my friend doing missionary work. Joe, we'll miss you. We'll see you soon. And join us next week for another edition of Squared Circle Spotlight, where gimmicks are gold, merch is mandatory, and behind every pop, we got a story.
See you guys later.
Peace out, guys.
Later.
Hey.